morning, everybody. My name is Badmeester Mark. I'm going to be your host through this amazing run called Valkyrie Profile, Confident of the Plume, done by our own boy Sniper Wave. Good luck, Sniper. I'll throw it over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Badmeester Mark. I guess there's not that much to introduce aside from my couch. This is Cyver. He'll be beating me on Saturday in Spectrobes. But yeah,
I'm glad even tech is on my side.
Man, it's gonna be rough. But yeah, this is Valkyrie Profile coming to the Plume. I guess we can just start with a countdown and just get things rolling. If the host can help me with that.
3, 2, 1, go!
Hey, so this is Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume, and like many good speed games, we start off with a cutscene that we can actually skip. About the story of the game, it's kind of set in some medieval time, where two kingdoms are slowly going to wage war, and we're starting off with a story about our main character, whose father was taken by the Valkyrie, and now he's just seeking revenge because, well, he's a teenager. That's what teenagers do, right? They get edgy and stuff. Yeah, this is the opening fight. This is a tactics game comparable to things like Final Fantasy Tactics and Fire Emblem. However, the twist in this game is that the combat is actually done in real time, and there's a lot of micro-optimizations you can do that way. Also, another thing about this game is that it can be really punishing. So this estimated 2 hours is like 15 minutes over world record. However, it's very easy for me to either go 10 minutes over or under the estimate, depending on what happens. There are certain situations in this game where some things like messing up an input actually waste you up to 6 minutes. It is quite something.
Yeah, this game can go south real fast, so we just gotta hope for the best here.
Yeah, speaking of hoping for the best, this is already where the RNG kind of starts. This wolf has a very small chance to stun Yugo from the side. If that happens, we lose upwards to 30 seconds just because you get an extra cutscene to play and need to do an extra combat. Now you might be thinking, oh, no. Nice, dude, I called it. This is marathon luck, guys. Doubles run went amazingly, and now this happens. It was bound to happen. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not using the first two characters. These are actually our main characters right now. They're level 1, and the other two are level 10. So this cutscene normally doesn't play because you do kill them on the counterattack, meaning that you don't do a combat with 2 or more characters, meaning that you don't get this cutscene. Now, the combat itself is quite fast in general. So another thing in this game is that you really do not want to mash that often. That means you do more attacks. You're not forced to use all of them. And all the attacks also have something that I'd like to refer to as a despawn timer, which is the time it takes from the animation to finish to the enemy to have the purple circle and start despawning. For some reason, some attacks are faster than others. We don't know why. Mages are slow, swordsmen are fast, all that good stuff. So this fight's pretty simple overall. This is just a tutorial fight. The enemy at the very end is actually only damageable by our 2 characters that are level 10 right now. And yeah, it's kind of just a dead thing now that everything kind of happened. So if the host has anything to say, then feel free.
I actually do. Give me a second. Alright. We are the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering. We organize bi-monthly gatherings in the Benelux for speedrunners. We're currently streaming our annual event live from Hotel... Oh, I'm gonna butcher this name again. Asteria in Rijn, the Netherlands. I did it. We're raising money for the Dutch Cancer Society, which is a nationwide organization committed to fight cancer while aiming for more cure and a high quality of life for those already battling the disease. All of your donations will go to the Dutch Cancer Society. Also, by donating to the charity, you'll be eligible for one of the amazing prizes sponsored by Nintendo Core. Any donation will get you a chance to win one of the prizes of the day, and will also give you 3 times a bigger chance for the grand prize. You want me to keep going, or?
Yeah, you can do one more.
Alright. We would like to thank Nintendo Core for sponsoring the prizes. Nintendo Core is an online store that sells Nintendo goodies and all sorts of other merch. Be sure to check them out at nintendocore.org. We also want to thank ESA for supporting the event and allowing us to stream at our channel. There you go.
Today,
Thank you very much, Mark. So this is one of the major starting things about micro optimizations and despawn timers. So you saw me attack with Hugo last instead of Gwendol. That actually saves about a second just because the timers are that much faster. So we're practically mercenaries now, story-wise, and in the cutscenes we skip here, Wilfred actually dies to one of the ghouls, and he gets revived and becomes a covenant of the goddess Hell, meaning that he's just basically meant for bloodshed now, which is what we'll be doing for just about the rest of the game. This game has 3 endings, as you might think, because this is C ending. C standing for yeah, just the complete game. I guess it's just crazy fast. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's definitely the fastest and also the most optimized ending in the speedrun.
So yeah, we swap 2 attacks here. Wilfred's second attack is actually a knock-up, which both does less damage and is a lot slower. Knock-ups in this game are kind of slow just because of how despawn timers work. So the other 2 characters are kind of gone because, well, the bells have rung and there's another monster invasion. So this tutorial teaches you about sieging, which we actually won't see used here, so I'll get back to that later. This tutorial is actually just kind of slow in general, so I'm just gonna let you enjoy this amazing music that the composer made for this game.
Hey Sniper, I'm gonna talk through the music because I got a donation. You okay with that?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Alright, so I got a donation from CM1215. It's a $10 donation saying, "Hey Sniper, good luck on your run. Excited to see you show you this off. And I cannot wait to see you again. This donation goes to whatever you like."
Yo, homie. What is the first incentive coming up from here?
Let me check. Other one. It's the Earthbound name incentive for Jeff, Paula, and Ness.
How about we name Paula CMM?
Yeah, alright. Let's do that.
So yeah, this is another main mechanic of the combat in this game, which are stuns. You can stun an enemy in multiple ways. The way we use here is by attacking him from behind with a swordsman. So what stunning does is the next attack you do gives you a red gem, which actually gives you an extra attack. The first one is guaranteed, the second one is 50%, the third one is 25%, and every subsequent attack gives you a 10% chance to drop one. So in certain sieges, you get golden gems, which give you 2 attacks. We use those later. And by doing that, you get to just go really fast because the attacks are the fastest way to kill enemies, as you might guess. So we actually don't opt to counterattack this wolf. We don't have the power to kill him yet, so we have to use both characters. So, Cyber, have you even played this game before?
Not yet. I'm planning on playing this game.
Ooh. So get ready, because this game is really brutal casually. I remember as a kid, I somehow got really hard stuck in Chapter 2. So Chapter 2 is one where you get to choose which path you're on. And, well, I kind of chose the hardest path as a kid, so that went quite well. So some of the people might know this run from Dragon Darch's run at RPG Limit Break a while ago. So a lot has changed since then. I think the world record dropped by 12 minutes or something since the reroute.
I think it was like, it's like 147 now?
It's 146.
That's like 13 minutes. I believe it was 159.
It might have been. So a major shout out to Huang, who helped me route this game completely. Which is actually quite the funny story, because back in the day when the world record was 2 hours, 10 minutes, he just came into my chat after I got world record, and he just literally told me, hey, this game can go under 2 hours. And I didn't believe him, but I gave him a shot. He just explained a lot of tech. He was apparently sitting on the tech and waiting for someone to return. And since then, we've been kind of demolishing this game, really. So this is the main mechanic of this game. You'll see me use it a bunch of times, which is using the Destiny Plume. So by Destiny Pluming a character, you multiply all their stats by 10, basically making them overpowered as heck. But however, it does kill them at the end of the fight. So after this, we can no longer use said character. They also give an ability to Wilfred for the rest of the run. You both get to use it as a skill and the moment you use the plume. So Ansel here gives us Volley's Awakening, which doubles all Wilfred's stats for 2 turns. That gets used a lot in this run, but for now it really is irrelevant because Ansel's just that much stronger. So we're just gonna wait for this demon to draw a little closer, and then we're just gonna one-shot him like the other one.
Yeah, once again, the angry teenager just has to wait it out.
Yep, he's grounded. Even though Ansel's like 1 year older. So a funny thing is that Ansel, as we figured out today, is the same actor as Rijn, which is the main character of Spectrobes, which is kind of ironic actually. We actually didn't notice until well today when we looked up some voice actors. So that was the prologue. So up to chapter 1. So Ansel kind of died because of the Plume, and Wilfred has given himself the blame for it. I'm gonna save over this file. I'm gonna need the other 2 files if things go south real bad. There's actually no guarantees of me finishing certain levels due to enemy patterns, and every time I basically get destroyed, I lose 4 minutes. So that's so if things go south that bad, I'll just load those files. So this is kind of the introduction of another mechanic here. This is where we get introduced to Sin. So once you reduce an enemy's health to 0, you can still damage them. And for every % of damage you do, you get 1 Sin. And every level has a certain Sin goal and 3 tiers of rewards if you get that, if you get enough Sin. So the first tier unlocks at 100% of the goal, which in this case is 50. The second is at 150%, and the last is at 200%. For this level, we are trying to get 200% just because of some really broken items we get from that. Also, that was good turn order. Also, you saw me save there. It only happened twice to me. The other time was actually just like an hour ago in practice. If these 2 crit twice, you're actually just dead. And the game overs basically mean you have to reload a save file. So I don't want to lose 10 minutes again.
Yeah, things can go really, really wrong. So
yeah, this game is extremely punishing as a speedrun. I've had multiple world record runs die on the same enemy about 11 times in a row, I think, 11 or 12.
Yeah, certain fights in this run, still even they're just things can go completely wrong, and his notes literally say at some point, "Enemies mean." That's just what the game does.
They do that sometimes. So this is one of the few strats that I use for marathon safety. There's an alternative strat where you basically leave your run up to chance just to save 12 seconds. We're not going to do that at a marathon just because, well, I would like to finish this run. So the alternative strat is killing the sorceress here, just because her animations are longer. But what she does is knock you up, which does reset every single stun. So you're guaranteed to clear it that way. This swordsman also has another small luck-related thing. He has a chance to drop either a Viking sword or a Union Plume. Viking sword is slightly faster, it saves us some menuing, but we can just buy one after the mission should everything go south. So it's not that big of a problem if we don't get it. So I guess that's another mechanic to explain. So different characters have different ranges.
Yeah, nice. We got the Viking sword.
Oh, nice. Actually didn't pay attention, thank you. But yeah, every character who's in range of an enemy will attack that enemy in combat, but it doesn't go in reverse. So say Sharifa would be in range now, she does not get to counterattack, but what you saw before is when the swordsman and the sorcerer were in range, they both attack you. Meaning it's really hard to plan your movement in this game. Also, you see Wilfred assigned to her Y button here. Every character is assigned to one of the 4 buttons, so the YXBA, and gets a number of attacks dependent on their class and weapon. So Wilfred has 2 right now as a swordsman. Mages always have 1, and every other just has a 1 to 3 depending on the weapon. So yeah, we're just gonna equip our Viking sword here during the fight. It costs us a turn, but it's faster than doing it in a menu later. We're already like really good on Sin because of the just the good ranges we got. I think this level is really hard to not hit it, but the next one is kind of risky, so I'm gonna make a safety save before that.
Not bad.
Yeah, sin requirement is relatively low. I think it was 50 for this
Yeah,
one.
you need 100 for 200% here, and I
Yeah.
think we got like 160.
Yeah, we definitely got 100.
A 164, dang.
Yeah,
We went
we-
well overboard. Yeah, more cutscenes to skip. Sharifa is someone we encountered the moment that we kind of ran away. She's been chased by assassins, and well, we kind of get ambushed while the two of us were together, so we're just gonna fight our way out. So we're just gonna head to a city. We're just gonna skip a cutscene and leave because we do not need to buy a Viking sword. I'm also gonna make a save here because the next level has a split path depending on what happens to the first enemy, and one is a lot riskier than the other. So a lot of the optimizations that were made started actually the moment I started running this game. So I by chance found out a better strat in terms of just optimizing movement and all that stuff. But we found out that just pluming different characters was just a lot faster because some characters are a lot more broken than the others, to say. You saw me use an Ambrosia there. That gives any character you use it on 100 extra max HP. We actually don't need that, aside from changing the aggro on some enemies. So some of the enemies in a later level are dependent on the HP of a character, and we do not want it to target Wilfred, so we give him slightly higher health. Now this is where the route might change. Doesn't seem like we crit, so we're good. That's the safer of the two routes. So there's a chance you crit him, which kills him, and that kind of messes up your sin route because you practically lose 60 to 70 sin. And the entire way this fight plays out is changed depending on what happens there.
Yeah, you'll see him get a lot of sin off of that character now because he's already low on health, so he can farm a lot of sin via overkill there.
So there's actually one item that changes how much sin you get, which is the Shackle of Sin. We actually use that later, and it multiplies the sin you get by 1.2. So this is basically the first boss battle we have. This is practically the leader of the assassin gang that's been chasing Sharifa, and we're just here to take revenge. So this Archeress attacking first is usually good. This is the only one we really need to counterattack. This is just to get her in range of actually killing her with the two characters we have. This is also one of the few times you actually see me counterattack in the early game. In the late game, we get to do some tomfoolery to make it a little faster when we're counterattacking. But we'll get to that in give or take 40 minutes from now. So I've actually only seen it once, but if these Archeresses in the two combats crit 4 times out of 6, which is extremely rare to begin with, Sharifa actually dies. That's the only time I've ever seen this go south that way. Yeah, this game is kind of a mess sometimes. That's most of the speedrun, honestly. So we can barely kill this Archeress now. We'll get like 4 to 5 sin usually. So we need 195, which is 150% of the gold. That gives us one of the more useful items later on. We're actually going to need it for the next level too. And speaking of sin rewards, we've gotten 2 flare gems last time. So those are basically one-time use spells that do a fixed amount of damage. And because this is the early game, it's practically a one-shot, saving us a lot of time. So yeah, you saw it do 480. I think the Archeress has under 400 health, which is really insane.
That's the end of that.
So we are also not able to plume Sharifa yet. She's considered a guest character. So until the character's chapter is cleared, you cannot sacrifice them. Mostly because, well, they're used for plot. So it would be quite weird if you could. So we're just going to aggro a few enemies here. Enemies' aggro range in this game is quite weird. So some enemies really don't get aggroed at all sometimes, and we don't know why that is. One of which will actually happen in about 15 to 20 minutes from now, where the enemy just completely doesn't aggro even though you're standing like 3 spaces away from it, and it has 4 tiles of
What
movement.
did you expect?
I mean, it technically could, but that hasn't happened since before the reroute, I think. Back when the world record was still a 210 instead of a 146. So this route actually changed a lot for this little fight alone. I think the original was 7 turns, and I think we brought it down to 6. So this is another part where we use stuns to just get a lot of sin from this enemy. We're just gonna attack him from behind and then just wheel on him until he falls over. It's actually important in which way you sequence your attacks. So I tend to attack with Wilfred first after his first attack, because that is the guaranteed jump drop, and Wilfred just does a ton more damage than Sharifa does. And I think this fight actually went well. This fight gave me a lot of trouble in practice for no good reason at all. So this is kind of the last bad thing that can happen. If you low roll all of your attacks, you actually will get 30 less in, and we have to reset. But that ain't gonna happen, right? I mean, if you open your mouth enough, you can only jinx it so many times. See, we're good.
Okay.
I think.
I didn't do the math, so...
Please be over 61. Oh, my word.
It's exactly 61.
Quite indeed. Huh. This might be exactly 195. Oh. Okay, actually, I can work with this. It's gonna take me 15 extra seconds, but I can guarantee it. We should be all right. So I'm gonna attack Loxwell with Sharifa before I attack it with Wilfred, because that is a guaranteed kill the moment Wilfred attacks. Let's hope it's enough. So by weakening him a little bit, the ranges just become a lot more favorable. So this should give us the 15 sin hours, give or take. I think he has 550 health, so we're trying to get 28 damage. Yeah. So we're trying to get 28 damage after he died. So if Wilfred's attack all kill, we're fine. I'm actually going to do it this order. Oh, man, this is a reset.
Oh.
That's 5. That was 5 sin. I know that because the bar is kind of fixed. Yikes. Okay, well, we're not PBing. Also, for some reason,
I think the capture card is
No, it's not
working.
broken. I'm rebooting it from the home menu because it's the fastest way to reset.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's the punishing nature of this game. You just saw it right here. So we're gonna have to do that fight all over again. I should not forget to use the Ambrosia. Maybe we'll actually crit and show off the other route. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, and that can just happen with like pretty much every second fight.
Yeah, this game can be really rough, and if that happens, then well, that's all right. Like I was expecting this to go really sour. Oh, what?
Oh. Okay.
Hello? That's the monitor, by the way. Tech. I'm just gonna menu through to not waste more time. You've seen this before, so if the host has anything to say, go right ahead. We have some catching up to do.
Yeah, sure. We still have some interesting bits going on.
Really?
Things
Oh,
you
my
can
word.
bid on. Mostly, when we get to 4,000 euros, we will play Barney's Hide and Seek. But it's not just playing it, because it's a no-controller run.
Uh-oh.
So there you go. Let's go to the 4,000. We also have coming up name incentives for Earthbound. Like, you can name Jeff, Ness, and Paula. We have incentives for the Portal 2 co-op all main courses run. The skin choice you can choose, and you can choose the
card?
course 6 for 5 million euro money.
Cap card, hello?
You want me? Oh, I'll keep
I'm just
going.
gonna keep going while fixing my cap card real quick. There we go.
Hey.
We got the Lara Croft. We're gonna
Well.
temporarily pause the run.
Oh no.
We will be right back.
Tech issues, yay.
Yay.
I love how the game just keeps playing itself from here. Are we good? Great. It's kind of unfortunate the game played itself there. After you end your turn, the enemies just wait until they finish all their stuff. All right, we're back. I'm just gonna wait for it to pop up. There we go.
Hey.
Perfect. Tech issues followed by a run that just started to meme on itself. That's amazing. That's the game I know. So this isn't even the worst of deaths. This is quite slow. It's like 4 to 5 minutes probably. I'm expecting this to happen twice. So there's a few backup saves. This is the one. There's only 3 save slots, and I need to make one for this run. And this isn't even the worst level in the game. So you're in for a treat. Plus, I think we're ahead of schedule, so it might be fine this time around. Might get away with things.
Audio says it's fine, so...
Audio says it's alright. Okay, that's the person I trust. Shoutouts to certainly someone here who did a great commentary job on Double Double's run as well. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate we didn't get the crit pattern, but what that kind of does is that it forces us to use the flare gems on the archers instead of the archers on the swordsman. And another thing that changes is just the way we manipulate the way the AI moves, but it ends up being kind of the same. So it's riskier because in one fight you actually have to get 2 gem drops to make it perfect. Otherwise you have to do a backup to that, which wastes about 20 extra seconds. Which is why I prefer not getting a crit, which somehow happened twice. But yeah, sin routing in this game is quite something. I think there's 4 fights where it gets really dicey. This one being one of them. There's one coming up later where it's not only a mess in terms of sin, but it's also a mess in terms of just finishing the run in general. So on a fight later on, I have lost enough world record pace runs. They were on 144 pace at some point, which is the end goal of this game for me. But yeah, there's just an enemy that if it uses Grant Magic, it's over. You can just reset your run.
That's the end of that.
But yeah, you'd think Chapter 1 is the big reset point in normal runs. Am I right? It's not like it's more than an hour and a half over in the run. Yeah, this is another thing that this game tends to do. That's just more so a staple for Tri-A's, which is reset the music every time something else plays. And then it's really unfortunate because this game OST is a banger. There's one later on where the song takes off right as we end it, which is really unfortunate. Actually gonna attack him again just to get more sin. I'm on edge right now.
If there's one thing I could have already told from watching Sniper do a couple of runs of this game, this is a very pretty game, and you gotta consider this is on the DS. Like, the OST is top-notch, and it has some really, really pretty cutscenes. Like, if you just see the cutscenes by themselves, you probably wouldn't guess that it's a game for the DS.
Yeah, they went ham on this game. This was also co-developed by Square Enix, who you might know from a run that happened, I think, last night. I don't even know for how long I've been here. I woke up at 1:30 and I don't know what the time is now. It was a day, all right. So by getting some extra sin, because we got an extra gem drop this time around, we're just completely safe. So that's perfect. It's only 5 minutes, right? It's only 5.
Yeah.
So
Can't get much worse than that, right?
with marathon strats, I'd say an optimal run would be a 144, and that require everything to go well. So we're still on pace. It's all right. So it's kind of unfortunate that this level doesn't really have that much marathon safe strats, especially when the crit happens. It's all up to luck, honestly. At least Locks wasn't an issue now. That's pretty good. So by putting Sharifa right behind Wilfred, she's actually exactly in range of Loxwell because archers outrange mages by 1. So we don't have to move Sharifa again after this, and we can just wail on him.
What did you expect?
So there's actually one fight for the next chapter where we also have to save. I have also just, in this practice session, honestly, everything has been a mess in the early game, and the late game went perfectly, which is the opposite of what usually happens. I am actually amazed by how many safety save I need to make now. Like, I was planning to make like 4, and after practice, I'm making like 7. So this is one of the first times where we start using actual cutscenes. Sometimes in the city, you have to actually prompt the cutscene yourself. And this is right before Chapter 2. So Wilfred's heading home, kind of avoiding to say where Ansel is by saying that he is somewhere else right now, which is technically correct, I guess. And from there, he's just gonna wander off because Sharifa's fine. She reunited with her dad, which turned out to be the leader of the assassins. They reunite. They join Wilfred because, well, they're being searched by the rest of the assassins. So why not join us? This is also where the split path happens and where we actually pick the easiest path in the speedrun. Yeah, there's actually just this is the only viable path because of the characters you get from this. The characters are usable in various ways, one of which may or may not need to get the plume. More on that later. So we actually get to use the plume this chapter for the first time. And by using the plumes on different moments, or in different chapters, I guess, you get to get the different paths from here. So the A ending requires you to not use any plumes. The B ending kind of limits them in a certain way, but usually ends up being 1 to 3 plumes throughout the run. And C ending is just anything goes. Well, kind of anything goes. You can't plume too much, otherwise you'll get the quote-unquote banned ending where Freya just goes ham on you. Freya being, I think, the goddess of beauty in Norse mythology. She's in this game. She'll murder you for being a dingus and pluming too many friends. The limit changes per chapter, but we use the maximum amount just because it's faster.
Yeah, you're still gonna see a lot of characters getting the plume.
It's kind of a shame that I haven't been able to do A-ending runs more often. A-ending is actually really, really brutal to do as well. Also, you may have seen me swap Wilfred's attacks a minute ago while menuing. This is honestly just for despawn timers, as you can see. On Wilfred's now second attack, the despawn timer is super low. And by using volleys and a might potion, we boost his attack stats to a level where we can kill both of the enemies in one hit. So these fish, or I think they're called skullfish, also have a small chance to stun you. If the bat and the fish both stun you, you actually cannot get the allies in a right place, and that messes up all the aggro, and it's practically faster to reset at that point. It's really, really uncommon, but it happened in practice for the first time after doing 600 or so runs of this game. I don't know what it is with marathon practice. It just always goes wrong there. It's really, really unnerving. So yeah, by moving Wilfred in that exact spot, for some reason the bat always flies to that certain spot. Some enemies are random, but these are somehow fixed. I don't know how they work really. I would love someone to task this game. So another thing you might have seen that is different from D-Darch's run, if you've seen it before, is that they use the Plume Sharifa here. Well, we're not, because we have other things to do with Sharifa. And it's quite fast. Also, I was alluding to another thing, which is if you don't get enough Sin, you'll actually get punished in this game. You'll have a Realm Stalker in the next fight, which is basically an overpowered version of one of the characters as an enemy. And they kind of are in the game to force you to use a Plume. And, well, next fight, as it turns out, their AI is kind of stupid, because I said that some enemies don't really aggro when you're 3 tiles away. Well, the Realm Stalker in the next fight is one of those enemies. So, let's hope for the best there. Bless RNG indeed, someone. So, how's your night been? You've been up for a while, I think.
Yeah, I originally wanted to sleep a little more because I still got some stuff to do. I'm actually going to take over hosting after this run, and later today I also potentially have a run. It's a setup buffer, so yeah. I guess at this point I have no other option than just to power through.
Oh, good to see you here. Handheld gang. So this is also one of the AI manips where Darius right now, which is the character in purple, that's the only one in range of the aggro of the bat, meaning he'll move downwards as much as he can. This also is a good showcase for why Darius is such a good character and why D-Darch was wrong in pluming him. He has a combo. This is the other way to stun an enemy, which is by knocking him out of the air. Some attacks have the property of being able to be a knockdown, and that guarantees a stun as well. So Darius is just kind of broken because of that. We're gonna abuse him for most of the run.
Yeah, we're gonna keep him like right to until the very end.
Until the very end, yes. Wilfred is a character you can't plume, obviously, because he's the main character.
Yeah.
This fish is also kind of annoying. It's the only enemy we really cannot fight. We actually have to have him attack us first, which is unfortunate because it wastes time. But for some reason, it do be like that sometimes. So we're gonna get everyone in range of the fish, just so we don't have to waste some time on animations. We might need to use a Soul Crush here. You may have seen the menu pop up earlier. I don't know if it happened or not because of the tech issues and stuff. But if you reach the bar to 100, you'll see the Soul Crush menu pop up. Soul Crushes are basically like the finisher moves of the characters. They do a lot of damage. We'll use one later this fight, but not on the fish, because we do not want enough sin to get to 200.
The battle is won.
So this bat is also special. Let's hope he cooperates this time. I don't know what's up with the AI of that bat, but sometimes it tends to attack Sharifa, and sometimes it just flies over the ravine and wastes a minute. This game is just like that. Come on, bat, you can do it. Be nice. Thank the Lord.
All right.
So if it flies over the ravine, it's not that much slower, but you're actually gonna have to move a lot differently. So from here, we can just ambush him with free and murder him from there. Otherwise, you'll just have to be in a position where the other enemy doesn't attack you, but you get to attack the bat next turn with free characters. It effectively wastes only one turn, which is give or take a minute. It's not that bad. See, I'm going to attack it with Wilfred first, just to get the gem drop on Wilfred. You actually do need a gem drop, otherwise it is a range. And I will be attacking with Sharifa last, just because that gives us the best despawn timer. For some reason, mages are really slow in despawn timers. The fastest attack is Frigid Damsel, which we'll be using a lot. And the slowest, I think, is Sacred Javelin, which is 8 seconds for some ungodly reason. So this enemy also attacks Sharifa. We're completely safe. If the bat and this enemy crits, Sharifa dies, but it's fine. We can just revive her and go on with our lives. The more later... Wow, he actually crit. Wow.
Yeah, so...
That's rare on its own.
That can happen.
Wow. So we moved Darius behind the yellow here. We're just gonna knock him up, get the combo going, soul crush him, and he's gone. I'm not gonna show the animation because they're really long. I might do it at the final fight because, well, we're not PBing anyway, so might as well show off how good the DS can look. Yeah, though. Another thing is that you hear the character use voices. For some reason, turning on voices is faster because of enemies like this. They don't have a voice clip to play. And for some reason, if you turn off voices, the despawn timer just goes up by 5 seconds every time. So we're going to have to listen to some voices, some of them being good and some of them being less than stellar. See, we didn't get enough sin. We're not getting rewards. Oh well. Boo-hoo. We're also going to go shop real quick. We're going to get 11 ways of dashing. Dashing is, well, kind of broken and kind of not really. It extends your movement by 3 spaces, but it renders you unable to do any other action. So it's kind of a trade-off in between attacking and moving in this game. But dashing is quintessential for the speedrun. Actually, we don't need to use that right now still. It's only for the next fight. So this fight's going to be really interesting depending on what the Realm Stalker does. We should be completely fine just because of what I said to earlier of the AI being quite bad. I don't think I've seen this go wrong in like, what, a year or so since I got a 150. So we're just going to see what happens. You should go to the left here. Oh, man. Marathon luck, boys. Marathon luck.
Yeah, so...
yeah, goodbye, Sharifa.
Yeah, now we get to see how stupidly strong these guys are.
Yeah, they just wreck Sharifa here.
Yeah.
She gets, like, overkilled the 3 times over. It's alright. We can go without Sharifa. It's alright. There's a backup for anything, right?
I hope so. Because you'll need it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. To think it hasn't happened in a year, dude. That's crazy. It's unfortunate.
Welcome to the game.
Welcome to Marathon Speedrunning, everyone. But yeah, no, we actually needed Sharifa to die here. So the Union Plume is an interesting item for multiple reasons. One, it is the only way to revive an ally aside from one of the spells. And 2, it respawns the ally in front of you, but the devs didn't account for height differences, so we just get to cheat Sharifa over the wall here.
Yeah. No, she's basically already right next to the boss, so
yeah.
This fight is as good as over.
So we're doing 1 extra enemy just to get our sin to 150%. We really want that. We get some of the better items here. So yeah, we plume Sharifa. She becomes insanely powerful. And, well, another really funny thing is that we never entered the aggro zone of the leader, which is the only non-paralyzed enemy because of the plume action. So, he kind of just gives up. He's just like, I'm done. No, that's enough. And I agree with him. I would too if there was some red glowy girl with a crossbow just absolutely massacring my colleague. I'd be done too. But yeah, this is one of the 3 kinds of missions. We just kill the leader. So that's what we'll do. There's the kill the all opposition missions, which was the last one. And there's 1 rescue target mission in every path. I think there's multiple depending on what you do. But those basically require you to kill everything and make sure that one of the characters that you need to save doesn't die. Obviously.
So another thing I don't think you have mentioned yet is that when you plume a character, you automatically get 100% sin.
Oh yeah, you do get 100% sin. It just fills up to 100. If it's over, then it won't go down. We're also going to save because this fight is kind of random and kind of bad sometimes. It does not require any sin because the last fight of every chapter really doesn't give you a Realm Stalker on the next chapter for some reason. So that's a lot easier on us because this is another kill the leader mission. It also is the first time where we have to menu more than a little bit. So I'm gonna need some focus here. So yeah, this is Natalia. Well, she'd be one of the allies in another path, which is the hardest path. So I accidentally got that. There we go. This menuing is actually like kind of difficult, but it goes really smoothly. There's always a delay in between when a menu is completely opened and when you can select an option. It's quite the fickle balance. Yeah, we're only going to need to kill 1 enemy here. Maybe 2 if everything goes really sour. Also, we get to hear one of the weirdest voice lines in the game here.
I never miss.
I didn't know you could miss a... how do you miss a dash? Like,
I mean, Loxwell apparently never misses, so that's good on him.
Yeah, good on him. Maybe it's the years. He is quite old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the good pattern. That pickpocket can use sap power, which reduces the power of a character by, I think it's either 20 or 25%. He can crit Loxwell as well, but it's not even a range. You're just guaranteed to live that. But if he sap powers Wilfred, that actually makes this fight a lot more difficult than it should be. And the rest of the enemies just don't do anything. The Lancer could get in range, but he doesn't because he doesn't want to stand on the poisonous lakes. So we're just going to stand behind Natalia here, use Vali's Awakening to double all our stats. And we're going to use the other reason why Darius is as broken as he is. If he engages in a raid, his ability pops, which is Razor's Edge. It gives you a 20% attack bonus on your characters, but reduces the defense of all your swordsmen. Okay, and he does get the knockout, which is amazing. Sometimes Natalia evades. It happens. So with Wilfred's doubled stats, we practically are at 240% attack. So we're just going to absolutely demolish Natalia here. And that was the entire fight. That was Chapter 2. This is one of the other fights I was really expecting to go wrong.
Father.
Yeah. Chapter 2 went surprisingly smoothly.
Yeah, Chapter 2 is something that it doesn't mess up often, but when it does, it is awful. So yeah, we don't really need any of the rewards. I honestly don't even know what the rewards are.
Can't be that important.
Exactly. If we don't use it, it's not fast. It's not worth it.
It's all you need to know.
So we're going to go back to our home village, go back to home, because Wilfred's mother kind of has gotten in a deranged state after losing both her husband due to combat and one of Wilfred's sisters due to famine, which happens a lot during the time. So Wilfred just is there for mental support as well. He's actually surprisingly lighthearted for a character that is about to slay a whole country, so make of that what you want. So this is another shopping menu. The shops give more inventory after every chapter you clear. So we're just gonna buy some sorcerer items because we can finally use things on Loxwell since he's no longer a guest. And after that, and we also met a Saintess, which is Rosia, which we'll use for only this fight. She's the guest of this chapter, basically. And having two sorcerers actually turned out to make this fight a lot more convenient than it used to be. There's also a bunch of menuing I need to do. What is it? There we go. It's just, the menuing in this game requires a lot of focus. It's very easy to forget something, and there's things that if you forget them, it's practically already a reset. So, for example, it would be dashing here would be a reset because you can't get Darius into place for the beetle. So this is one of the monster missions again. We also got some really powerful spells in Spell and Might Reinforce, which increases the either the attack or magic respectively by 50%. Which, on top of volleys, just makes Wilfred a monster. He's less of a powerhouse in A ending. A ending, for some reason, really gets your characters even more on the level than normal. So this is also another fun thing about having two sorcerers. Their basic spells, or their standard spells, I should say, are... what is it? Firestorm and Sacred Javelin. Firestorm is a knock-up, and Sacred Javelin is actually a knockdown. So while it doesn't animate as a stun, it actually does count as one. So it's a really easy way to chain gems in this fight. We don't get to use it outside of this fight, I think, because this is the only time where Rosia is actually useful.
For you.
Which is good, because I absolutely despise her character. So yeah, this is also like, I think the first recoloration you're seeing. Just like any other RPGs, recolors mean they're stronger, as one might expect. And we're actually trying to get 200% Sin on this fight, just to get some good rewards for, I think it's only the next fight, really. Well, that just shows you how tight the Sin route of this game can be. There's parts where if you miss it, there's one fight where if you miss it, a Realm Stalker spawns and your run is absolutely just gone. Yeah, there's volleys. Also, like, if I hit A here, I start a dash, and I can no longer go back. You're just stuck to actually dashing, meaning, well, again, you just lose your run. It's really tight. It's also, like, really weird how punishing this game is for a game that's also that brutal and casual play.
I mean, it would make sense.
I mean, it makes sense, but, man, show some remorse, right? Oh,
Nope.
I accidentally just grab magic.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Don't mash in this game.
Yeah, so that was completely unnecessary
Yeah, that
because
was
we already had 100% sin from that.
The gold.
Now I did that to show animation. It's RNG
Oh.
manip.
Alright, gotcha.
Also, Soul Crushes give really long despawn animations as well. Well, some of them do for some reason.
May they find peace
I think
in the
one of the later characters has a really short one. Wilfred's pretty long, and all the Grand Magics just take forever. So we've barely walked around the aggro range of every single beetle in this game, or this fight, I'd say. Darius is the only one that really is the cause of that. It's also really the only use of Darius in this fight, and that's going to be kind of a returning theme because Darius's combat capabilities are kind of meh. The only thing he really brings is the combo, which just makes every other character insanely strong. So we get about 20 to 25 Sinner.
25.
And we're trying to get the other 75 of the other beetle. Let's see if I can do it without the second attack. So another time where we use the sorcerer combo. So you want to channel the Sacred Javelin right after the Firestorm. This should be fine. If not, I can just whack him with Wilfred. This might be close.
How much do you need?
I need 75. This is like 82, I think.
I think we're fine then. Yeah, it's definitely more than 75.
It's actually really misleading how that bar is. 75 is, I think, pixel-wise at 79. The pixel values are slightly off. And yes, I did count that at some point because I had time remaining and I really wanted to see... I really wanted to recognize them by heart. So this gives us a few things. One of them is the Mithril Helm, which increases Wilfred's magic by a little. So Wilfred uses a lot of spells in terms of like the Plume abilities, and one of them, which is Gleipnir's Bonds, which is the paralysis one, actually skills off of Wilfred's magic. So increasing that by a little helps a lot. This should be all right. Oh wait, actually, he needs to get the Mithril Helm. Heck. So we're actually setting Loxwell's attack to Frigid Damsel. Frigid Damsel has the shortest despawn animation by 5.4 seconds, which makes it save like 2 seconds over every Firestorm we use. This is also where we are gonna see the end of Gwendol here. Gwendol is the character we're pluming. He's pretty good, honestly. His damage values are nice, but nothing is as broken as his Plume ability, which we'll get to in the next fight. We're also going to increase Wilfred's magic just a little bit extra. I don't do this in PB because it takes time, but just for marathon safety, we might as well. So there's one enemy we really want to stun, which luckily happened, which is the armor next to Gwendol. Otherwise, I'll have to revive him and then plume him, which is kind of unfortunate. I should also not forget the Might Reinforce here. If you forget the Might Reinforce, you cannot get enough Sin, you miss the rewards, and runs over. We're also going to hear one of the funnier things in the game, which is one of the few audio glitches, I hope. One of the better ones, in my opinion. So goodbye, Gwendol. It's been fun. Love your character, but I love your Plume ability more.
Oh yeah, Veyers.
The Veyers war cry is interesting.
What's happening to me?
There it is.
So yeah, somehow when the game is trying to play 2 songs at the same time, it kind of lets the voice line stutter. We don't know why, but it sounds really funny with in combination with his accent. It just sounds like he's stuttering.
Could be something related to like audio channels getting clogged.
Might be a thing, yeah. So this is Lieselotte. She's looking for revenge on Rosea. So apparently the court magus has been killed, and both of them take the blame. And they both were innocent, so they think the other did it. And now they're just kind of on a crusade to kill each other. And we just, we may or may not have just beaten the heck out of Lieselotte.
Treasure where you're going.
So since we're skipping the cutscene, what actually happens is that we don't really kill her, we just kind of capture her, sorta. And Rosea tries to give Lieselotte mercy, and in response, Lieselotte just blows up Rosea. And now Lieselotte's with us. Character exposition. It's a pretty nice heart-to-heart, honestly. And we get right into the next fight, which I don't think has that much of a change in character order. So this is where we get to see the power of Veyer's Warcry. That thing actually just like ripped the run in half. So this run actually started off as a quick route on the back on Speed Demo's archive even, I think. And there were 2 runners that used Veyer's and 2 that didn't. And if you look at the leaderboards, you'll see that their times are about an hour apart. So yeah, that happened. But what it does is it gives your attacks sudden death, which, as it states, reduces their HP to 0. But it scales off of your magic attack. And since we have 2 mages, we get to have some fun here. And again, this is the final fight of the chapter, so Sin really isn't an issue. So yeah, we're just gonna whack them all one by one and just go really fast. So yeah, Frigid Damsel being the faster despawn timer is really ideal because mages are the ones that can use instant death the most. So by making their attack animations just a little faster, it saves a lot of time over the long run. I think it's like a minute in the end. Again, the dreaded level up animation, still stuck to tactics game for some reason. So we move Lieselotte up one space. For some reason, the AI doesn't attack Lieselotte from the side this way, even though she can get in range. We don't know why that is, but it is the way it is, and it saves time, so it's alright.
That's all we need to know.
If it's faster, it's probably better, right?
But not
Yep.
much.
That's why C ending is the crazy fast ending, even though it is considered the bad ending. So yeah, this enemy is the one we were speaking of. So this is a kill all opposition mission, otherwise we could have cleared this in the first turn. If this was a kill the leader mission, we'd probably just use Veyer's, attack the swordswoman, and we'd be done. Sadly, we're gonna have to kill like 7 others.
Firestorm!
Because apparently the whole country just wants us dead because of the party members we have.
I think I managed to work up a sweat.
It's okay, we got instant death mages.
So this fight is just kind of a slog from here, so if the host has anything to say, go right ahead. Good morning, host. Good to see you're up early as well.
Sorry, I was taking a sip of my coffee. I have a donation.
Hey.
I was just waiting for you to, yeah, shut up. Here you go. It's a 24 euro donation from Double Double, saying 2 minutes over estimate divided by 5 seconds equals 24. Never thought I could do math of this type of during this early. Putting this towards Yoshi's story all melons because it's longer and the more Yoshi, the better. There you go.
More Yoshi is always good. Shoutouts to RDV and the rest of the handheld gang.
Indeed. You want to keep me going, or
Oh yeah, go ahead. If
I've
you have
got
more,
no
then-
more donations. But what I can do say is we still have options for the Earthbound names. We have for Jeff, we have the options SSU in the lead with 5, and beneath that it's called Dutch for 2. For Ness we have HKN, and for Paula we have CMM. I still think that CMM is the best.
CMM is the best name.
We are 114 euros away from meeting course 6 for Portal 2 co-op all main courses. And we are with the donation from Double Double are we 321 euros away from 80% from changing 80% to all melons 1 lap for Yoshi's story.
Thank you, Mark.
No problem.
So you saw me attack the swordswoman with Wilfred first. Wilfred's magic stat growth is actually the same as a mage, probably to complement his kit a little more. So by whacking her, we have a small chance to kill her instantly as well, being a little faster than the mage animation, but we sadly missed the range. So up next we have, in my opinion, the worst menu in the game. So we're gonna shop first, then save, then do the menu. Followed by that is a chance to just instantly lose 4 minutes. And it's also the reason I have a backup save. So I'm going to give it 2 attempts, and if it doesn't go well, then I'll just skip the fight and explain what happens while we're dying. But yeah, we're just going to have to bless RNG here.
Chapter 4 is something.
Chapter 4 is awful. Chapter 4 is the reason my world record isn't good. I think I lost like 2 minutes over what the old PB was there. So you saw me buy a bunch of stuff, which is what we usually do when you're shopping, right?
Yep.
But yeah, they actually like do almost everything we need to do in terms of what we need in chapter 4 and 5. There will be one more shopping menu after this, and after that we're just completely done. Let's see what happens in this fight though. So I opted to save after shopping just so I don't have to do it again, by the way. Also, this next fight is really random, and if you're thinking of picking up the game, please just do 50 runs of this, and you'll know how bad it can get. And it's also really good practice if you do 50. I think the clear rate of this is either 75 or 80% in my testing, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is exactly the point in the route where his notes literally just say enemies meme because
they do, honestly.
Yeah. That's exactly what he's talking about with like doing 50 fights, and there's going to be a lot of different outcomes. It's just something can happen, and he has to restart.
There we go. There's Defiance. Wait, where's stalking gone? Wait, what?
Uh-oh.
Where's my stalking? Hold up. What? Oh no. Reset number 1. Good thing it's in the menu. So I accidentally gave Loxwell stalking instead of Sacred Javelin. Oops. Good thing that's a fast reset. So yeah, this is a real good case of how punishing the menu is and why you shouldn't run this at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Here we are.
This is easy to mess up. Good thing is that the very first thing you do in the menu. But yeah, there's a lot of precise inputs, and so what happened is that it didn't take my up input, and that Sacred Jav is 1 spot above stalking, I think. Either that or it didn't register my Y input as being gone, because holding Y in this game scrolls down an entire page in the menu. That makes shopping a lot more interesting, but it makes menuing a little bit of a hell. So we're just going to have to watch that cutscene again. Oops. I guess. But yeah, this is why the estimate's so generous. And the world record strat in this level is actually slightly worse. We tend to take 1 extra risk. But it requires some enemy patterns to happen. So it's dependent on both turn order and on what the enemies do.
The audio guy has a question.
Go right ahead, audio guy.
Does that mean you will go under estimate?
Maybe. I set the estimate to 2 hours because it's as likely to go 10 minutes under as 10 minutes over.
I believe in you. You can do this.
You have more faith than I do. So yeah, we're kind of just making Lisa a lot of our tank. She's the only one that really needs the armor. That should be everything we need to do. So See, this is the worst menu in the game because it requires every single skill you need in menuing, and messing up once in your entire sequence of inputs just throws it all in the garbage bin.
Like we saw earlier.
Exactly.
Take this.
So this is where we bless RNG. If Lisa dies, it's over. Which is why we buy all the armor. Also, Loxwell doesn't really like castle walls. So by using by having a spell, you can also use it as a field spell for 80 AP. What that does is it gives you a plus grid, and in that grid, all the enemies will be hit. It's also less likely to proc additional abilities from that. So by doing that, we aggro the enemy who's way in the back, and we're able to kill him while instant death is still active, saving us like 3 turns or something. It takes a long while to walk there. So this is what I like to call good turn order, even though it's still kind of iffy. This is also why Lisa is becoming our tank. Which seems weird for a mage, but she's also kind of over-leveled because we are under-leveled. And instant death just does instant death things. So I prefer the swordsman to not attack first here, because he can stun from the side, and from there it just becomes a big manga S in terms of whether you live or not. Another thing with her health is that it really doesn't matter after the second enemy because she levels up and it just recovers the full, which is really nice. Oh my word. Game, don't do this to me. Not now. You monster.
Game doesn't care.
The game really doesn't care. That side stun is actually like pretty unlikely. I think it's 10% per attack, 10 maybe 5. Okay, this is where it gets dicey. Oh! Heck yeah. He saved me, dude. He didn't attack Lee's, but he's in front of it, which means movement's gonna be kind of iffy. Actually not certain on what to do. I think I have an idea. Oh, that's actually really bad in terms of positioning. Huh. That's weird. I can dash with Loxwell next turn, I think. Yeah, I can dash with him next turn. Actually, he's not in range. That's a big yikes. This is probably gonna take like 1 extra turn. That's fine. Instant death still running, so we can make this a little faster. Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, enemies can avoid attacks too. That's a thing. It's extremely rare, but it can happen at any single part of the run. So you have an avoid and a hitch stat, and if they avoid, it's just kind of bad. It wastes a lot of time. So Natalia is the first enemy where it's really bad back in chapter 2, where it wastes a good amount of time, we could say. Actually, how am I gonna kill this guy? This is awkward. Man, having 2 of them live is really bad. That's probably the worst case scenario that isn't dying. Yeah, this is the enemy. Oh, wow! Hello? Wow. And they have increased avoid stats because of their class, but like, really? This is why Double luck was so good, I think.
Yeah.
It's all on to me. It's got wrecked.
Enemies meme.
Enemies meme. In brackets. And this isn't even the worst thing that can happen. Can you imagine?
Oh, I can. I've seen a lot of runs die to this level in particular.
Yeah, this level is bad. So I think the best pattern you can get makes the fight last about 5 minutes, which is special. I think it's like between 5 and 6. And the worst thing I've ever had, I think, was 11 minutes, and that was without a death.
So yeah, even if you somehow survive like the worst you can get, yeah, you still lose so much time.
Surviving's the easy part. No, it really is. It's kind of sad, actually. Wow, Vampire still does what he usually does. That's interesting. So we kind of manipulate this Vampire into using Dark Savior, which is why we have all these silence checks equipped. So silence basically makes you unable to cast spells and or use anything as a sorcerer or use abilities, but Reinhilde has none, so we don't really need it for her. It is really bad for a sorceress, as you might think. Oh my god, dude. Okay, so Guard Reinforce on the Vampire is also something really bad. I think this might be one of those 11-minute things. Because we also cannot get in range of that other guy, I think. Let me see. No, I think that's actually fine, because we can get the Swordsman with Loxwell, kill him, move on to the other living thing, or like the non-undead thing, rather, with Lisa Lotta, and we'll have to just survive the onslaught of the armor and the Vampire. Vampire being guard reinforced is really bad. Normally you can kill him in one combat, but it being guard reinforced forces you to use two. And they kind of hurt in the counterattack, so that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, it's good to actually like have the archer not reinforce that, because that means he would be out of range for Lisa Lotta right here. Normally we'd kill him with Reinhilde, but movement got interrupted, things went bad, nothing's new. More grass is green, water's wet, more news at 11.
Was it good for you?
So I guess while I'm trying to think of things to do you have anything to say, host?
Of course. Alright. This is the wrong opening thing. We want to thank ESA for supporting the event and for allowing us to stream on their channel. Thank you Esports Game Arena for providing us with the gaming monitors for the event. The EGA is a home to a variety of on-site gaming events in Alphen aan de Rijn, including our BSG bi-monthly marathons. You can consider using your free monthly Twitch Prime subscription right here on the ESA channel. You will get access to both the ESA and BSG emotes, and you get to support both the events. Well, that's a steal! Stay updated with our events by following us on Twitter and our Instagram under the handle BSG Marathon. That's BSG with capital BSG and a capital M. Get a behind the scenes look of the event and stay up to date with the latest news on our marathons, events and more. There you go.
Thank you. This positioning is also kind of bad from like actually every enemy. I think I'm gonna need to let the Vampire die in this turn and maybe let an armor live. This is where it gets really awkward too, because we're gonna have to move Reinhilde out of the way to actually hit the Vampire, because archers cannot hit enemies that are in a one-tile range of them. So we're just gonna see if the Vampire, who's in range and who's not. Okay, so we're definitely gonna have to move Reinhilde here. Then we can move Lisa Lotta here, start engaging on... Actually, let's move Wolfred here first. It's a lot easier to hit the Soul Crushers that way. And this is like the actual worst thing that has happened in this fight in a long time. Wow, and I missed the Soul Crush, but at least it was stunned. This should be enough damage. You really want the fourth character in the fight. It's really hard to space out your attacks to get 100 on the gauge. The armors are just gonna be armors, and they're gonna be bad. That's just how this game goes sometimes. From here we should be good though. We might need to use a Union Plume or two, but that's fine. It's a lot faster than resetting from this point. Yeah, from here you can really see the power of what Soul Crushers can do. Reinhilde's especially is just really strong, especially after a Might Reinforce.
You could at least
Finish! Dance macabre!
But yeah, optimally you'd kill everything that is not the armor by turn 3. So what would happen is that you would kill the Brigand, the Swordsman, and the Archer that usually attack Lisa Lotta on the counter. Then you would be able to attack the other two, the other things that live, and the Vampire by turn 3, and you would only have the armors left by turn 4. This might be bad. Loxwell isn't even recovered yet from the level up. I'd expect that to happen, but oh well. Luck ran out, I guess. So I'm just gonna use a Union Plume, get Loxwell back in the game, and then just engage the armors one by one. And from there, this fight should be done. But yeah, this is what I mean with you can go 10 minutes over estimate really easily. Like, this is most of that already. Ooh, is Lisa Lotta gonna live this? I think she leveled halfway, and she's quite tanky, so... we should be fine. Also, she has Defiance, which reduces her avoiding chance to a nearly 0, but it does half all the damage she takes. And for some reason, actually, we only need to buy armor on Lysalata. A, because she seemed to attract a lot of attention of the enemies to begin with. And 2, just, I don't know. I don't know actually why she's attacked. Wait, this is the Union Plume, heck. It's been so long since I used the Union Plume in like this fight. But yeah, right now it's still reinforced. We do need to get her into the range of both armors, which is why I put Wilfred in between, because of his limited range.
Can we also talk about the fact that Reinhild is just a grandma with a ballista?
Yeah, we could. We could also tell something about our voice actor real quick, because in-game, she is married to the character Auguste, who is a character we'll be using later on. But actually, like, that one is... His voice actor is a professional voice actor, and they couldn't find someone to cast Reinhilda, so he did actually just ask his wife to do it, and she agreed. And she actually did a really good job on voicing that.
Yeah.
Which is quite ironic how wholesome that is, considering the setting of the game. So I'm spacing out the attacks a little bit. This armor has a small chance to block attacks, and you cannot block magic attacks. So by having them hit by magic, you actually make sure that none of your attacks can be blocked during that time. So by spacing it out, you kind of just extend that duration. And that was arguably the worst fight in the game, which is pretty neat. Thank you, someone. Yeah, we don't really care about Sin here. The Realmstalker next fight is kind of a non-factor. Yeah, they recognize our power, and they're just gonna join us in the rest of their conquest. This fight can waste time randomly, but we'll know if it wastes time depending on when they're done with their patterns. Oh, this is Loxwall. This should be okay. Yeah, this is why I have notes with me. It's if you mess up, you just waste too much time to do things, and we don't save everywhere. So this is where we plume Loxwell. We used to plume Lysalata for a while here. Pluming Lysalata gives you a lot more leniency in this fight alone, and for the final fight, it changes the spawns of the enemies just a little bit. But as it turns out, Lysalata is actually just better to have in general, both by menuing and all the other stuff that she gets to do. She doesn't have heal, which is nice, so you have to scroll less, and she's also higher level, meaning you'll save a bit of time that way. We're also using stock to aggro the enemy right here in front of us to make them walk forward a little more. So this Iron Golem's movement is set in stone. That was a bad pun, I'm sorry. This Swordsman is giving us a good pattern, and this Archer's is giving us a good pattern, which is really nice. So the Swordsman has a small chance to move forward, meaning that he will attack Fiona, who is the character we have to rescue here. And that just wastes us free engagements, which add up to be just about a minute. Which also I think happened in my PB, which is a 146. So it could have been a 145 if that just didn't happen. Just all up to luck. That's something with RPG speedruns a lot, and it's something, if you want to run this at a marathon, I'd really recommend you if it happens, make sure you commentate well enough to know what the other outcomes are. And just don't tilt. Get used to the fact that things can go wrong is one of the tips I could give you. Because I know a lot of the people I know would like to run at marathons more in general. And I'm really happy I could do this here. Like, doing a run like this at a marathon is really risky for just estimate alone. So thank you, scheduling team, who sadly I think is still in bed.
Except for yourself.
No, you cannot photo your own games. Who does that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we have to remain unbiased. Hello? Small inside info here. You cannot photo your own games here. So, the Sacred Javelin here, used as a field spell, kills these two at once, which is really nice. You'll hear the other one despawn off screen, which sounds really nice.
Always the reek of blood.
Stop telling our secrets.
He knows a little too much.
He knows too much. I guess the Spectrums one might be a solo run soon. You may or may not hear more from me. ESAS. But yeah, Darius is still stalked. Stalk makes it so that the enemies won't see you. You're just kind of invisible to them. We don't use it as much here as we use it in A ending. But stalking here gives us the advantage of aggroing the first enemy. But we do need to unstock Darius because if we reach the Realm Stalker and he's not paralyzed, while we're stalked, he will recognize Fiona as the only enemy in his range. So he'll just absolutely murder her.
Be no more.
And if she dies, the mission's over, you game over. Bad stuff happens, you lose more time.
Always the weak of blood.
Host is getting more coffee. I could use a cup too if you can do that. Thank you.
Can't blame him.
Love you, Mark.
Take this.
Yeah, this exact spot is where the Realm Stalker starts aggroing. Good thing he's paralyzed. That actually changes up what we do very slightly. But it's not that much of a change. So this is just more of just killing the rest of the enemies with instant health. Sadly, the host isn't here, but you know, Tech's doing a good job this turn. They've been really speedrunning this setup every time. I'm really happy with how they did that.
I'd actually have to go for a moment as well.
Wow. This guy, dude, they're letting me alone, man. They're letting me alone in the dead point of the game. What is this? I guess I deserve that.
Take this.
Oh, hey, look, it's Tech Guy.
Hi, dude.
How you doing?
The audio guy is like...
The audio guy is like
Can I-
very scared behind the desk right now.
Can I be a host? Why? Nah, don't do it.
So yeah, with the Realm Stalker paralyzed, our pattern changes slightly. That's due to the spell reinforce slowly running out. This is the last turn we have it, so if we still had it, the Realm Stalker would be in range and we'd be able to kill him. But since it won't, it's actually becoming a range, so we're just going to get the other mage in range as well and kill him with 2 attacks. Doesn't waste that much time, and I shouldn't avoid it because, well, hit chance is also multiplied by 10. So that's all right. So with all the other enemies out of the way, except for one, which, as you might know, is the enemy all the way up there, which is at a very nice position as well. So this is the last turn as well, where the enemies are paralyzed. So they'll slowly work towards us because of the way priority works. It'd be really unfair if it was the other way around, because in that case, you would probably not be able to finish the mission, if I'm being honest. So we're gonna use transposition here. Usually we don't use this, but because of the way this enemy is positioned. Yo, he actually got coffee, dude. Can we get some applause for Buttmaster Mark? Actually, he's stirring it too, man. You're a hero. Thank you.
He is truly a hero.
What a guy. See, I'm spacing them a little apart because there's like no chance he dodges the first one. And that way he's just out. So I also put Lisa Lotta a little closer to
But not much.
the last enemy here, which is ideal because he will slowly walk up towards Fiona, and the next turn we're actually going to be in range to use insta-kill and engage him with Lise.
FYI, it's not coffee, it's cappuccino. I went the
Ooh.
fancy way. There you go.
Ooh.
Also, thanks for covering me, Reek.
Look at this tech desk, dude. This is why BSG is great. So we're just gonna activate instant death real quick and just end it off here. There's 2 more chapters to go. The next one is really long, and the other chapter is basically just the final fight. It's kind of sad that a lot of bad things happen, but at least chapter 4 has been really nice.
Won't be
Oh,
you again.
the latter part of chapter 4. Let's not talk about what happened in the first one, because this game just does what it wants to do. So the next bit of stuff is what I'd like to refer to as the menu fiesta. So I'm just going to be in full concentration mode for like a minute or 2. Also, I guess before that, I can talk about the rewards we get here. We get the Alphen bow. Weapon's kind of ridiculous. You'll see why. Also, Loxwell's dead. F. I'm actually gonna make a save, not because I have no faith in Chapter 5, but I kind of just don't want to mess up the shopping menu, and it's really early in the morning. So this is kind of a shorter shopping menu. It really doesn't require all that many things. Mithril tiaras are two things that are really important. Those just increase the magic stats slightly, but it can only be equipped by women. The male variant of that would be the crown. We also got a Dark Savior Codex, which is basically the end game spell for Lisa Lotta there. First, menus. Lots of menus. This is so much menuing. Wait. Right, that's the thing with this menu. So if you have the same option selected, so if you go from weapon to weapon, it actually stores the position of the menu, but it only does that on if you do the same. So if I would have scrolled down with the weapon, so if I say I went from weapon to helm, I would have actually been in some slight trouble. Wait, huh? My notes are wrong. Great. Did not expect that to happen. But yeah, the notes are publicly available as well. We do have an entire community Discord for this game. So the only active runners right now, which are D-Darch and I and Huang, are really willing to help you out. There's guides for all the free endings out there if you would like to join. Some things that you really need to learn is just know how to improvise in this game, but it's worth the wait. Getting a good run in this game feels really satisfying, just because you get the sweet relief of getting good patterns. The notes usually mostly contain marathon safe strats, but there are some PB strats that I would be really glad to explain to you.
I think I managed to work up a sweat.
Or anyone for that matter. So this is kind of where the Alphen bow is starting to come in. So the Alphen bow is a really weird weapon in that it copies the value of any attack damage you do, and it applies it again. So because instant death reduces the health of an enemy to 0, the damage value is applied twice. So if it procs on the first hit, which I really hope it does, it instantly gives you 100 sin because the damage value is copied. So it goes from 0 to 100 to 0, or from 100 to 0 to 100 again. And that kind of just like completely broke open the game in terms of sin routing, making it a lot more easier to not get Realm Stalkers. So this should be a two-turn fight if everything goes well. Spell Reinforce is good. He either does that or starts attacking Lisa Lotta. It's not that much of a difference in time chain and in timing, but either way is fine, really. Just make sure you scroll to the Sorcerer. After you spell Reinforce, he becomes really scary. But yeah, Instant Death's still fun.
Was it good for you?
We're also looking for 200% sin in this fight. Or 100%, I should say, which is 220. We really do not want a Realm Stalker in the next fight. That's going to waste up to 4 minutes. We're also hopefully going to see Wilfred actually whack an enemy. There we go. It's just a lot faster. This, I think, is 7 seconds faster if it hits, just because you only channel it after Wilfred hits, and the animation of Frigid Damsel is still quite long. But yeah, Reinhild is just a broken character, and the fact that Alphen bow is a thing in this game just makes it even worse. So we're trying to make Reinhild a kind of a spellcaster at this point. Also, you saw me set Reinhilde's first attack to Shrewd Shot. That attack is kind of special in a way because it cannot be blocked, and a lot of enemies later tend to just randomly block things. So having an unblockable projectile that just instantly murders you is pretty handy sometimes.
My hunger for battle remains.
Man, I really needed that. Yeah, we did get 320, so we got our items. The items we really don't care about. It's just the Realm Stalkers that are really annoying to face. So yeah, basically we joined... so what happened last chapter was that we met House Han, which is a really revered family around these parts. What they basically are just one of the most powerful and wealthy families here. And after they lost both their son and daughter to the Valkyrie, the parents just decided to join us in our conquest, and they let us meet one of the two kings who were, or the crown princes, I should say, that are fighting over the kingdom after the king's passing. So we're just gonna go on a campaign with Prince Lang right here, who really loves wasting time for some reason. After some menuing, of course, because that's how this game works. Also, get ready for something, chat. There's one thing I really want you to do here. So, Auguste here has the thing counterattack, and when that procs, he says a very iconic line in Stand and Fight. And when he does that, actually, that's the wrong ability. Nice. When he does that, I would like you to type that out in the chat. Just so when you hear it, just be ready to type Stand and Fight. You'll hear it twice here, maybe 3 times if we're unlucky, or lucky, depending on who you ask, I guess. But before that, we're going to spell Reinforce Reinhilde. As it turns out, any lady with a ballista with a magic stat of 250 is really scary. And even Lizard Lords can't win from that. Like, how do you beat a ballista?
Well, not like that.
Not like that, yep. I actually, fun thing, I didn't know that thing could block until like a year into running this game, because it just never happened until then. So this game just does things like that sometimes. So it is, mostly the things that we reduced in routing this game was just mostly about using Darius, honestly. Darius just made this entire game about 20 minutes faster on its own. So I think the old route used to keep Loxwell, Reinhilde, and Wilfred at the end, and it changed to Wilfred, Lieselada, and Darius. So
that's about right.
And it's been so long since the reroute, it's actually crazy. So yeah, this is where we plume Auguste. Which is also something with regarding voice lines, is that you can interrupt others by setting a new one. And Auguste's lines are quite long, so we're just gonna interrupt in mid-sentence.
Take this.
So yeah, we actually need to dash a single space just to get in range of an enemy the next turn. And that entire sentence from Auguste takes like 12 seconds to play out, I think. Something stupid like that. And yeah, we just don't want to hear it, honestly. It's kind of slow.
10 of you would not suffice.
Also, the first option of Stand and Fight is coming up. Counterattack is kind of funny in that way. It uses your last attack and your rotation, and it makes it slightly more powerful. But you do need to avoid an enemy in order to use it. Now, our evasion stat is like boosted 10 times over, so the chance is likely, but counterattack appearing is not guaranteed still.
Stand and fight.
I think we got him. Yeah. Okay, so that attack is a very, very likely range to actually hit. I think it's like 5% to not hit it. It requires like some really bad rolls. But we'll get another attempt at standing and fighting. I believe in you, chat. You can do it louder than last time. Make me proud. So yeah, this bird we can't counterattack, sadly. You actually do need the enemy to be in range. So this bird approaches me to a range where I would be able to do so, but because it's not in range on the overworld, I'm actually unable to counterattack it. Also, I really need this bird to like cooperate, to not waste me 3 minutes, because as I said, evasions are bad. Well, that bird avoids Lisalada's attack, so I'm actually going to go first with Lisalada just to make sure. If that bird avoids that, it's kind of just really bad. Because instant death runs out, and I have to run over with Auguste, and I have to run all the way back, and it's just awful. Good thing it didn't happen. I was expecting it after 4-1, not gonna lie.
I think I managed to work up a sweat.
So yes, Cyber, how are you holding up?
Honestly, getting kind of tired.
I can believe that. You've been up for like really long.
Yeah.
Cypher, you want a coffee too?
I'm just gonna manage for the next 20 or so minutes.
I mean, we all know it's because this marathon is just too good, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely it. I mean, I'd stay up for double doubles run too. It was a blast.
Yeah.
I didn't warn chat, but I guess they could have figured out on their own.
Yeah.
I believe in them. It's a strong, independent chat. It don't need no moderators.
They
I like
are
it, dude.
doing what you wanted. Stand and fight.
Stand and fight, boys.
Yes. There you go.
So yeah, this is just a thing where you have to walk to the demon, who's all the way on top of the mountain. Even though we're on range after dashing here, it somehow just doesn't aggro to us. Another funny thing about this demon that I figured out recently is that mashing is actually kind of bad. Auguste's first attack here, if you mash, the last hit won't proc, and that's like half of your damage of that attack. So that's like a 5-second time loss. There he goes. Let's hope he drops Raptor's Claws. Raptor's Claws is an item that can only be used by Auguste, and well, that's the end of Auguste in this run. So F for Auguste in chat. So the level up next is the other level where I made a save state for. There's a lot that can go wrong, and looking at the time, I'm actually just gonna give it one attempt, and if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna explain what happens because it's at the very end of it, and I'm just gonna load the other save file. So yeah, this is basically where the conquest begins of trying to overtake the other kingdom. So there's a Margrave active to keep the peace between the two princes. Doesn't seem to be going well because, well, I mean, they are at war after all. So yeah, let's see if this works out. If it doesn't, then we'll just skip the fight, but we'll see.
I believe in you.
I believe in luck too.
Oh, and in luck then.
Wow, inputs. So yeah, inputs don't register directly, as I said earlier. You actually have to wait a few frames. So there's the three bad things that can really happen. We'll see which one happens, I guess. So this is actually like a really new reroute because I lost that many world records here. I was just kind of done with it, so I was just gonna look for a safer strat. And it actually turned out to be like 10 seconds faster, so it's pretty neat. So let's start by hoping we actually hit the Reinhild shot directly because that saves like 30 seconds. Hell yeah. Good job, Reinhild. You actually hit the range. I'm proud of you. So yeah, that just insta-kills them. Otherwise, we just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Use some soul crushes and kill her that way. It's not that slow, but every little bit of time is appreciated. So now we're gonna like try to aggro as many enemies as once on Lisalada because, well, she is our tank after all. So taking out this archer is really recommended because Lisalada is tanking so many hits. The archer's attacks actually do so much damage combined that she won't be able to survive.
My hunger for battle remains.
Okay, now we're hoping for the first bad thing not to happen. Bless RNG, I guess. Okay, good. So there's a small chance that the sorceress actually walks off the ramp, and that takes her into range of Lisa Lotta, which is quite bad. She also didn't freeze both of the characters, but I've actually never seen that happen. I actually waited to open my mouth there because that's how opening your mouth works. You just jinx things and things go bad and marathon luck happens. But yeah, the other two characters will walk in front of Lisa Lotta. They'll attack, but they can't stun because they're attacking from the front. And we're just gonna take them out with a single spell. Now you might be thinking, well, you're out of the woods, right? Well, the worst part's still about to happen, so we'll see. Let's see if I can get some retribution RNG from what happened on 4-1. I really hope that's gonna happen because this level is scary. I think I've lost before this attempt of like the 12th streak where I died. I think I've lost like over 30 world record pace runs here. This is probably the worst endgame level. So the worst thing that can happen is the sorceress. There's two of them. They have a small chance to use Grand Magic, which is basically their Soul Crush. And that practically kills Lisa Lotta. And that made it so I couldn't continue the run because Lisa Lotta would be dead. It can still happen here, but it needs to happen twice. So Reinhilde is going to be in range of the other sorceress as well, making it so that both Reinhilde and Lisa Lotta need to die for the run to not be able to continue. So first we're gonna try and get this range with Wilfred. Maybe we're lucky, maybe we're not. We'll see. Yeah. Okay, thank the Lord, we hit the second one. The second one's slightly more likely to happen because not only the magic stat, but also the attack multipliers also multiply the chance you can apply the instant death effect. And Sure Shot, even though it can be blocked, somehow has a lower multiplier. So we're just gonna dash these two forward. And Darius is gonna just stand there and do nothing. Just do Darius things, I guess. So yeah, the sorceress will always prioritize attacking Reinhilde there. And Reinhilde has a good chance of just surviving Grand Magic as well. I don't know how big the chances are, but they're non-zero, so that's enough for me. Okay, that's perfect. Even hit the first hit.
My hunger for battle remains.
Okay, so we should be fine from here. The only real bad thing that can happen is, I think, everything critting, which is actually just astronomically small of a chance. Famous last words. But yeah, we only need to survive one combat here. We can just kill the archer and he won't have a combat step of his own because he would be dead. You can actually avoid it, but that's not that big of an issue. Avoiding twice is where it gets kind of dicey, but again, never happened before. Never gonna see it at a marathon, I hope.
I've seen worse.
So all we need to do from here is just go to Reinhilde's turn, attack the sorceress, call it a day, and this level's over. And I'm really surprised that this didn't go wrong in this run, actually. Wow. So yeah, and most levels from here should be smooth sailing. All of them are guaranteed, technically.
Behind any great house, there lies a...
I guess except for maybe one, but that's an evade chance that's like really low. I don't recall failing any of the other levels though. So yeah, this is the second to last chance to save on Chapter 5, but since the backup file is here anyway, I'm just gonna keep it that way. So this is where we find the Margrave, and this is where some menuing happens, I think. So not a lot though. Deployment is still the same. because of the reroute. So we're going to use a few items we got from last time, which are the Expert's Experience and the Golden Eggs. Expert's Experience give 30,000 XP, and the Golden Eggs increase all the stats by a number between 1 and 9. We're also going to equip the Power Bangle that we got last time on Reinhilde and give the Valiant Helm to Wilfred, increasing his magic just a little bit further. So we're going to see how the Golden Egg rolls end up. So this is another mission where Gleipnir's Bonds is just pretty crazy.
Spell reinforced.
A 481 is actually a really good magic roll. That's impressive. Wait, that's not the spell menu. Nice. So yeah, that's kind of like the most punishing of things is when you open that menu, because it plays a small animation before you can go back. We're also going to try and aggro the boss, because this is a boss-only mission. So we're just going to walk Darius all the way up. Okay, let's see if I can skip this, because this is frame perfect. But if you hit the frame, Langro will actually skip his attack. And he didn't, sadly. I actually got it in practice again, but if you hit start at the frame, the combat starts, Langro will actually skip this attack, saving a bunch of time. So this is I think one of the only missions where you get a partnered character as well. Wait, this is wrong. Heck. And partner characters, you cannot control them. They don't really do a lot, but, you know, they're here.
Might reinforced.
Again, this fight honestly has a lot of setup, so if those has anything to say, go right ahead.
Of course. Let me get my sheet open. Here we go. Gonna refresh. Boop. Alright, so up next we got Tarzan Untamed. We got no incentives for that, but we got the Earthbound incentives still. The names, nothing has changed on that. The Portal 2 co-op, all main courses. We still got course 6 open for it. Still 114 euros for that. It's really cool, so I would like to see that. We also got the skin choices. We got for Portal 2 co-op all main courses. We got Heart at the lead with 3 euros. Then we got Ninja at 2, Starburst got 0, Moon got 0, Military got 0. So you can still snipe one of those if you want that. After that we got Lara Croft and the Guardian of the Light PC. Outfits choice, we got Legend, $8. You can snipe that with 10. Do it. You got the Legend outfit ahead with 8. Then you got regular with 0 and biker with 0. And we got Pokemon Yellow, the Nidoran name. The lead is Danielle. I think it's Danielle. I like to think it's Danielle. So Danielle with 10 euros. You can also snipe that with like 11 euros and change it to, I don't know, Peter or something. Fun name. Maybe. And we got after that Super Mario Galaxy any percent Mario versus Luigi. So Luigi's ahead with 5 euros because it's my bro Luigi. But you can still snipe Mario. You want me to keep going?
No, it is fine.
Right.
Okay, so I missed this range. This is the most unfortunate one to miss. It's actually really hard for some reason because Darius's attack knocks him up, but for some reason when it's behind an enemy like that, it just takes a lot more effort than to hit the second part of the attack because the enemy just ends up flying sky high. So yeah, Lisa-Lotta's final hit should kill because of her magic stat being crazy high. So if you hit the Darius range, you actually just can pelt them down with Reinhilde. Also, Meteor Swarm, which is the Grand Magic of the Dark Savior, is actually quite funny. If you skip the animation, the meteor never shows up, so you just drop a bunch of empties on your opponent, as you can see here. And that was the Margrave. So that's one of the 2 biggest obstacles out of the way. Oh yeah, this run is going quite over, I think. Yikes. Text says nice, which means I'm probably saving this schedule.
Oh well, you still have coffee.
I do have some coffee. Actually gonna save here. There's 3 missions in a row. And this is like the last spot you can actually save before the chapter 6. Good thing the last 3 fights are kind of fast. This one is slightly longer, but it's not as bad because there's not too much combat going on. So yeah, this mission, I'd like to refer to my split name. Don't forget the Veyer's Idiot. There was a long time where I just forgot to use Veyer's Warcry at the very last turn, where we need to just insta-kill the leader. That's kind of dumb. Don't be a dum-dum. Doing that just kind of lost me too many minutes. Way too many minutes. So this is kind of like our stealth mission. We used to do the same thing we did to Sharifa earlier, which is Union Plume someone over the wall. As it turns out, walking around is faster in this case. And that's mostly because this is, again, just less tiles to walk. And we actually do have access to dash right now. So that's the sorcerer we need to kill. The Realm Stalker we don't really care about. It's not that much of a threat. What we are going to do, however, is boost Darius' magic stat to, I think, 260 something. Making it really likely for him to hit the range. So we're going to use both a Spell Potion later on and Spell Reinforce, which is the maximum boost you can get. So you might be wondering why I call it a stealth mission. Well, that's because 2 of the characters we have stalking now. And not aggroing enemies tends to be really fast. So we're just going to give Darius the boost from the Spell Potion. Sometimes in PB, I actually keep the Spell Potion for 5 free. It's not as bad in this case, though. It's actually a lot more nice for marathons to actually use it in free 2, which is the Lisa Lotta fight, where it's just a lot bigger of a time loss if it doesn't happen. So we're just gonna slowly walk towards the final enemy here. They're all gonna be active next turn, but the sorcerer will have his back to Darius, meaning that instant death is slightly more likely to proc. Oh, I didn't stock with Reinhild. Nice. That doesn't really matter. That's just 1 engage. Oh well. I think he's the only one in range of Reinhild too. And that's only because he has access to field spells. So these just start walking towards Wilfred, do nothing really. So this is where I don't forget the Veyers, otherwise I'm kind of being a dum-dum. And rule 1 of speedrunning is don't be a dum-dum.
Hey, Sniper, don't be a dum-dum.
I'm not being a dum-dum, I say as I hit Veyer's Warcry.
I am so proud of you right now.
You and me both. But yeah, we actually have like multiple shots at hitting this. Usually the first one is enough. If you don't, you can knock him down. You have a third attack that gives you a gem. So there's 4 attempts at instant death guaranteed, and there might be a chance for a 5th and onwards.
To see another dark day.
So we're kind of just storming the castle right now, where the Crown Prince is waiting for us. So this fight really is kind of a snooze fest. There's not much to it. This is another kill the leader mission. The leader will actually be the only one that isn't paralyzed, so she will be walking towards us. And this fight shouldn't take more than a few minutes. Oh, this is actually like a really good roll. Multiple stats on the golden eggs. It's crazy. The most important ones are attack and magic. I guess hit to an extent too, but volley just compensates for most of that to begin with. So the Realm Stalker, again, we don't really care about them because the leader is the only one that really needs to go. So we're just gonna try and beat her in one combat. It's not guaranteed, but it's pretty likely. And if not, we can just attack her again with Reinhild and be alright. Let's hope we get enough gems to drop. Oh, that's... I guess Darius's first is actually better in this case. Building up the combo gauge actually increases your damage slightly by about 1% per whatever the number is on the bottom left. This might barely be enough. Wow. Okay, that's close, but that's fine. As I said, it's quite unlikely. Darius should love this with ease. Lamau, never mind. We still have the kill with Reinhild though. Close enough. So usually she ends up being stunned, but because of all the extra attacks, the stun actually just runs out. We're just gonna have to hope that Reinhild does enough, or just hits one of her attacks. So yeah, Reinhild's hit chance is actually pretty decent. She's the highest level that we have, so this fight is just pretty uneventful in general. Next fight, however, is the courtyard, or like the throne room itself. So we're gonna enjoy the best song in the game. We're also just not gonna use Darius in this fight because he's slow. And there's actually just no point in having him. So I hope you liked your time with Reinhilda. It's coming to an end. She's gonna join Auguste in the afterlife. Sad as it is, all good things must come to an end.
Spell reinforced.
So we're just gonna paralyze all enemies. Hope some Realm Stalkers stay paralyzed as well. It's unlikely that two remain non-paralyzed, but if one of them, it's good enough. It just depends on luck, really, and it changes the route very slightly. Okay, so the top one isn't paralyzed, meaning we're gonna take the top path. And that also means we can delay the pluming of Reinhilda by a turn, saving a poison animation. So Reinhilda's special ability does poison all the enemies, but since they're already paralyzed and the Realm Stalkers are immune, that's not that big of an issue.
Feather o'er the battlefield. Unto me thy power yields.
So it looks like we're going just a few minutes over estimate. That's honestly not that bad considering everything that happened so far.
Long has it been since such power.
So now
graced
Kristoff
these
is
old bones.
going to walk forward ever so slightly, only to die. Casually, this fight is actually just super hard, but we don't really care. We have a grandma wearing wielding a ballista. She's just gonna make quick work of him. And with quick work, I mean really quick work. We'll see ya, Kristoff.
Ten of you would not suffice to match me.
So yeah, the sin requirement really doesn't matter because we're nearing the last fight in the game. Which also has one of the most beautiful cutscenes, but since we're low on time, I'm just not going to show that. I will, however, save just to be safe. One input here can lose up to 5 minutes, just for reference. This is just the most tight fight of them all. A lot of things can go wrong, and a lot of things shouldn't go wrong. Oh wait, it's Darius, Wilfred, and then Lise.
Do we have time for a donation?
Go right ahead.
Alright, so we got an €11 donation from Cruel122 saying, here's $11 to make Dutch J the Jeff name in honor of our good friend and Mark's brother, Opiope. Also, hello Cruel. I see you there in the background.
Hi, Cruel. Good morning.
And with that, Dutch J is in the lead for Jeff's name, but we can still snipe it. So let's get that pit war going.
So yeah, this is the final fight in the game. We've acquired enough bloodshed to transform the Union Plume that Wilfred was wielding into the Angel Slayer, which is a weapon that's strong enough to slay the Valkyrie. So that's just what we're going to do here, after stunning everything. So the Valkyrie really doesn't appreciate our presence, so she shows us the her guardians, which are basically all the characters we've plumed so far. There's actually a reason we've considered keeping Lisa Lotta plumed, because Loxwell, who is next to the Valkyrie, can actually heal her for 80% of her health if you mess up the combat. But that shouldn't happen. The combat's kind of guaranteed, so that's alright. Bar some execution mistakes or some really unfortunate avoidings, you'll be fine. Wow, we've actually gotten really good rolls. That's insane. 1039, I think, is close to maximum. So this is something I messed up quite recently. You actually have to go left here and stalk. I'm actually going to rotate the camera just to be sure. So this is just to manipulate the AI of the Valkyrie to stay in position for the next few turns. Wait. I'm just going to really check the notes. I don't want to mess up here. This is like the last part where if things go wrong, it just really goes sour. So I'm going to take some extra precautions. Okay, so this is the right movement, which is amazing. So we're going to move Darius to the left to start setting up the raid here. We're also going to move Wilfred slightly out of range of the Valkyrie. And we're going to use our last Might Potion on Wilfred, because we saved them up all the way from Chapter 1. We do need this last Might Potion for the fight. It's technically not required, but it makes it guaranteed instead of a 50% range. 50 plus, really. Okay, Darius is actually the last to do things. We're going to use Volley's Awakening on Wilfred first. We're also very slowly creeping up on time. It should be like a minute from now. We're also going to use Sap Guard, which we bought somewhere in Chapter 4 and haven't even mentioned until now, because this is really the only case for it, and it's really just required. Also, Darius' ability gives us 20% attack bonus, which is exactly enough for this fight. And just makes it so we can kill her in one combat. So we get the guaranteed gem drop on Wilfred, meaning we should be around good from now.
I see gray. Do you not?
I do tend to space the attacks in between because the Angel Slayer gives free attacks, and we don't want the knock-up to happen because the multipliers are that bad. Again, an animation hackery with the Meteor Swarm there. So this is the absolute minimum we could get. I don't think it's a range, but this should be the kill. Get ready on time, by the way. Time will be not after the enemy is dead, but after the fade out after the victory screen. I'll let you know when that is. So yeah, that was Valkyrie Buffalo coming into the Plume. This fight is guaranteed. It's really hard, though. If you want to run this game, be sure to know what happens and make sure you can improvise. And time! 201 is actually not bad considering all the memery that happened in 4-1. 1 minute over estimate is actually just not bad. It's worse than last year, but last year I kind of lucked out on most of the hard levels, so that's amazing. I'm really happy to have been able to show off this game again. Again, if you want to run this, if you go to the speedrun.com page of this game, there will be a link to a Discord, and people are really willing to help you out on that. And I could really use some competition, so if you want to challenge my world record of 146, I would very much encourage you to do so. And with that said, I think up next is Disney's Tarzan Untamed by Double Double. So give it up for him. He's been... He's had 2 hours to practice during my run, and I wish him the best of luck.
Alright, thank you Sniper Wave for that amazing run. Up next we got Double Double with his Tarzan run. It's a fun game. Stay tuned for that. We'll be right back after some ads.